welcome once again to Let's Talk Marriage. This is Pastor Larry coming to you this afternoon with Let's Talk Marriage. All right. We're going to get right on into our program on today. Our program on today is about in laws. All right. Hope everyone is doing well. If you woke up this morning, you are doing well. All right. We had sent a little chat or started a little chat and asked some of our listeners to drop some ideals in on some of the subjects they wanted to be discussed on our program. And one of the subjects that they wanted to be discussed or talked about on the program was about the in laws, which is a really interesting topic. We had talked about it a few years ago or a year ago or so. We had mentioned about the in laws. The thing about when you're referring to the in laws is because, for one thing, everybody needs to learn to get together because, everybody's family, when you marry into a family, all those things should be taken in consideration before you even walk down the aisles. You should your husband or your wife should have already met your parents, and first impressions are something else. So you have to make a good first impression on your in-laws first of all, and there should always be respect in on both sides. And we've talked about many times, it don't put your husband down around your relatives, because then when they come around for holidays or whatever, they're going to be looking at him like, oh, here he is, Mr. Lazy. So you don't want to put your spouse down around your in-laws. And you should be in a marriage where you don't find your spouse trying to keep you from their parents, because you all should be all, especially as if you've been married for a little while. The parents are starting to get older, and then they have to, sometimes they have to help their parents out. Might have to run errands or something for them. It shouldn't be any kind of animosity or anything involving that. Everything should work out, and it should be worked out smoothly, but we know it don't always work out that way. So, and one of the things you should not be doing is comparing your wife with your mother, or you shouldn't be comparing your husband with your father. Those are things that causes conflicts in the marriage. So you make sure that everyone is working together, and just have that family atmosphere where and then when it comes to holidays, you have to figure out where you're going to be going for the holidays. Like for instance, if you go to one parent on Christmas, the husband's parents on Christmas, or the wife's parents on Christmas, or if they all come over, you have to figure out the day that they're coming over, and those things should be all worked out. There should never be any kind of conflict involving your in-laws. There used to always be jokes about, going to the dreaded mother-in-law's house, how they did it on the old sitcoms, that, the mother-in-law was always the enemy. But I don't think that's very prevalent right now. It could be because I've never experienced it, because I've always gotten along very well with my in-laws, and it's all family. They come to our house, for holidays, and we go to their house for certain things, because they don't get around like they used to. So you have to take things in consideration. You have to learn to work together with your family. Yeah, I found a couple things here that I'm looking at. It says the in-laws. This from Focus on the Family, uh, and they're mentioning some things. They're separating from the parents. You have to separate from the parents. The Bible said, a man leaves his mother and father and cleaves to his wife. So you want to make sure that everyone is being respected in that sense. You don't want to, again, you don't want to put your spouse down around, your parents, as far as they know of it, unless there's something, where there's physical abuse or mental abuse, then, of course you tell them then. But if there's nothing like that going on, you don't want to, put your husband down or put your wife down in front of your parents. You want to make sure that they have the utmost respect for your spouse. And, in some cases, you have the mother-in-law or the parents interfering. One thing my wife always said, she always tell our children that she doesn't get it. Because it's usually uh, the woman or the mother that gets involved in these things. Most of the time, the fathers always say, "Oh, okay, I'm just gonna stay out of it." We always neutral. Every once in a while, you get the father that'll get involved, but for the most part, it's mainly the mothers. And I notice my wife always tell our kids, because all our kids are grown. She always tells them that she doesn't, or she tell people that we don't get in our children's affairs, unless if they come for advice or ask her, that's a different story, which is a good thing to do because if you get involved in your children's things, they never learn to work out things on their own because when you're in a marriage, you have to learn to work out your own things, within the family, within the husband and wife. They have to learn to work things out. And if they can't learn to work things out, they're going to always, whenever there's issues in a marriage, you're going to always come running to you for everything and for your advice. And my mama said, it shouldn't be like that. The decisions that you made between you and your husband should be between you and your husband. Again, if especially if there's nothing like serious or like abuse or anything like that, it should be worked out between the both of you. And a lot of times, parents want to get involved with it, because you love your kids. You want to make sure that they're being treated right, or make sure they're being treated fairly, I should say. And you make sure that those things are taken care of. And a lot of times, the parents, might get involved in, things that are sometimes said, and you find sometimes the husband dread going over to the mother-in-law's house, or the wife dread going over to her mother-in-law because, she's constantly being criticized, and that's why you should not, make comments to your mother-in-law or to your mom about your wife. For instance, if your wife is not that great of a cook, then you don't go to your mother. Yeah, she don't cook like you do, and then because whenever she come over, she gonna be you know taking over your kitchen. You don't want that, nothing like that to happen because that can cause conflicts, and you don't want to put your husband down. Oh, he can't fix stuff like you can, Daddy. He just don't know how to do nothing. You wouldn't tell your father that because when he comes over, he's gonna feel make him feel bad, and that it causes a lot of conflicts. Honoring you, but you should always honoring your parents is very important. So you still honor them. You honor them. And show respect when you come over. There's, should not be any, because I've heard families get into name calling on, from both sides, and that should not be. You should learn to work things out. Life is too short. Things should be worked out, and what, especially if you've been married for a little while, your parents and on both sides are starting to get older, and sometimes like in our instance, my both of my parents are gone. So my mother, my wife, she's still is fortunate enough to have both her mother and father. So it is just a wonderful thing to be able to to go to their side and visit and spend time with them. Is a wonderful thing to do that because now we're not able to do it on our side. So we have to make sure that we are working together. We always stress it on the program. Make sure that you're working together, honoring your parents. Build a mutual respect, mutual respect for building mutual respect for both the on both sides. You know, you take again take turns going to holidays. In my case, both my parents are deceased. At one time when my dad was around, we would go and visit his house on Christmas Eve. We would always spend Christmas Eve at my father's house, and we knew that that's what we were used to doing. And then on Christmas Day, we would be with my wife's mother and her family, her mother and father. But on Christmas Day, we always did that. Thanksgiving, it's usually always at our house. It's a routine that we always do, and everybody get together. So and it's always a wonderful occasion when you do that, when you work it out that way. So you should build that mutual respect, and make sure that you're spending those holidays with your parents. Don't alienate yourself from them. Make sure that you have that lasting relationship with them, because they're not going to be around forever. So you have to make sure that you are respecting them and enjoying them while they are still around. Religious differences. There should not be too much of a religious difference in family. And if there is, make sure you respect each other's religion, how they, and don't judge people. Sometimes people have a bad habit of judging people because they do things that you don't do. For instance, they might drink, and on your side or the family, and on your wife's side of the family, they might drink, and vice versa. But you don't want to be judgmental when you go around, and always, especially us religious people, we have a tendency to go around, when people are not going to church like they should, or people not going to church like we think they should. We always want to be the first to be judgmental, but that should not be the case. You're there to enjoy yourself, have a good time with them, and just enjoying family, because it's very, very important. Family is very important. Make sure that we are attending our family reunions without animosity, without bringing attitudes, and that's why when you have those in-laws, make sure that there is respect from both sides. Again, do not put your wife down or put your husband down around uh, your people. Make them feel comfortable. And again, this is one thing I've always said: when you first get married, or when they first in the family, when they first in the family, the husband is first in the family and don't know anybody there. Once he get used to the family, then you can go on. But until he gets used to the family, make sure that you don't wander on off and just leave him there and defend for himself, because they might corner him. So make sure that you until he gets used to the family, because in all families you always find that one person that you can, especially when you first become part of a family after you and your wife or get married. You always find that one person in the family that you can connect with or have something in common with, and you would talk with them when you have family gatherings. As the years go by, then you get used to each other. Everybody get used to each other, and they used to seeing the the son-in-law around, and and used to seeing the daughter-in-law around, and then and they become part of the family, which is that's how it really should be. And part of that is communication. We have always talked about communication on the program. When you communicate, have positive things to say during your communication. When you're visiting with your relatives, no, don't bring up old negative stuff or old things that you had disagreements about. Solving the in-law conflicts. Make requests and make demands. Make requests, not demands. You don't go demanding anything. You can request things, and that holds down a lot of conflicts within the family. Uh, Speak about yourself. Don't try to. put yourself above them or talk down to people, when you go to their house. And, especially us educated people or people that are educated, they always have the tendency, or people seem to think that they always looking down upon someone. You should never do that. That's, because sometimes, especially if you older in a marriage and the in-laws are much older and they didn't get a chance to go to school and all that stuff like you did, and you don't never put them down and don't always think you know everything. It's some people that always think they just know everything. Don't be one of those people that think you know everything, and when you go around the family, oh, here you come again. Or don't be that one that's always preaching. Us church folks, please don't do that when you go around your in-laws. Be one of those ones that's always preaching. Well, when you get there, people are like, happy to see you come and glad to see you leave. So you don't want to be like that, because then you come around and you always want to make people feel bad. You start preaching, and yeah, don't do that. When you just go there to enjoy family, go there to have a good time with them, and go there and and just be a blessing to them when you come there, because you might not have your parents, or you might have your parents, and you have to realize that they are parents, and they are adults. They are our elders, and you have to respect them. And when you learn to respect your elders, then things will go a lot smoother. I enjoy going around my in-laws. We always got along from day one. I got along with them, so I never have any issues or anything with them. But you know what? It comes. Sometimes it comes with time, but sometimes it'll start day one, and sometimes it'll come with time. But you learn to get along with people. The same thing, when you even on a job, you have to learn to get along with people. So when you have your in-laws, make sure that, or when you go in to see your in-laws, make sure that you are making you feel comfortable, and spouses, make sure that your spouse feels comfortable around your people when they go around. Make sure that they, uh, you know, uh, are entertaining, or make sure that they're part of a part of the family. Make them feel part of the family. That's what I'm trying to get at. Make sure that they are feeling part of the family, and not being alienated against, where they put them in. Okay, we don't want to be bothered with you. Here they come again. That's when you make sure that you are part of the not part of the problem, but part of the solution. You don't go there to cause any tiffs or arguments or bringing up old things. Make sure that when you go around your in-laws, make sure that everyone is getting along. Make sure you're enjoying yourself, because that's the time. Because again, they're not going to be around forever, so you have to make sure that you get along with them. Because just the other day I was thinking about how we used to go around my grandparents, and when they were alive, and time just goes by so fast. So we have to make sure that we are respecting each other, and in the household, and that way when you do that, when your kids are, they'll be respectful also with to their grandparents on both sides. They'll grow to love their grandparents on both sides. You don't want them to say, "Oh, we're going over grandma so and so house. I don't want to go," and you don't want them to feel that way. And sometimes they pick up the vibes from you if they hear you talking about the in-laws, or they hear daddy talking about his mom's people. They'll pick that up, and then there's animosity that builds up. So we have to make sure that we are getting along. I can't stress that enough, that we should get along as family, because family is family. They're always going to be family. There's always going to be times where there's some tension, but it shouldn't always be there. Learn to work things out. Learn to solve things in a relaxing manner, or not being confrontational. You have some people that like to be confrontational, so you don't want to be confrontational. You want to make sure that you are enjoying each other when you go around, and when you have those gatherings. Make sure that you're a part of the gathering, not a part of the salute. Make sure you're a part of that gathering, and and the things will work out fine. Sometimes it might not come right away, but again, you should those should be things that they should have met your parents before you got married. It shouldn't be no surprise. Who is this? Where you get him at? Where you meet him at? We haven't heard him talk, her, he or she talk about you at all. We don't know who you are. That shouldn't be the case. They should already be familiar with your spouse, how he is, that way they can get along. They'll have things to talk about, and when you at the family gatherings, the next time you go to the family gathering, you could always discuss the highlights from the last family gathering and how much what a good time you had, and you have things to talk about, and that enhances the marriage. When you're getting along with your in-laws, your spouse, notice that, and they say, oh, they just love him. Because I remember my wife's grandmother was wonderful. God rest her, bless her. So she was a wonderful person, and we just got along and clicked it so well. And those are the memories that you always want to have within the family. So don't have those where there's big blowout fights, and every time you got together with your in-laws, and I told you I don't want to go over that, and it should never be like that. Again, life is so short, so we should make sure that we are getting along with our in-laws. Now we're going to be talking about the other topics and keep those topics coming in, those suggestions of things that you wanted us to discuss on the program. Make sure that you just send me a note, or send me an inbox, or something on a subject that you would like to be discussed on the program, and we will make sure that we try to discuss all the programs, or discuss all the subjects that you guys give us ideas on, because we want to make sure that you're getting this. And our program, again, we just want to reiterate that the program is not just for married people. It's for anyone that's an adult and contemplating on getting married, or thinking about getting married, or you thinking about seeing someone, or you're interested in someone, and you want ideas how to go about being the best that you can be in a relationship. That's what this program is focused on. We focused on relationships, whether you're married, or you're just contemplating on getting married, you're engaged, you're thinking about meeting someone, or you're in the process, or you just met someone, you want to know what things to look for in, when you first meet someone. The things that questions you should ask. Matter of fact, we're going to have a program coming up. We're going to be talking about the things we're going to go over again, the things that you should look for when you're just meeting someone in a relationship. And the Bible said, he that finds a wife finds a good thing. When you're approached by, respectfully approached by a gentleman, you're a single lady, and you're respectfully approached by a gentleman, the things that you should look for in order to proceed, or to know if that's going to go anywhere. Because if it's not going anywhere, they're just wasting your time. So we're going to be talking about that on our future programs. But until we meet again, this is Pastor Larry. We're going to be signing off with Let's Talk Marriage. All right. Now remember, all the music that you hear on this program is from a wonderful app called Whoop Triggers Plus. It's available on the Apple as well as the Android platform. This is Pastor Larry. Until we meet again, well, let's Talk Marriage. Now, remember, if you have any ideas that or topics that you would like us to discuss, please inbox me or jot down a note or put it in your comments of any subjects or topics that you would like for us to discuss on the programs. Any ideas that you might have. And this is Pastor Larry until we meet again with Let's Talk Marriage.